Hello and welcome to another episode of the Smash Accept podcast. I'm your host, Michael Royer. You can find me on Twitter at DynastyDadFF, joined as always by my main man at FFPC. And it's Monday night. You know what that means. It's time for roster reviews. This is our third show. It just keeps getting better and better. More and more people are wanting to get in. And Snoog, you know, I'm putting it up here because everybody keeps asking on YouTube. Everybody keeps asking on Twitter. Tune in live, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every Monday. $60 to be on the next show, to have your roster reviewed. And when we do those, we do offer DM services afterwards. So we do 8 to 10 minutes on the show, then we'll do a little bit afterwards. And Snoog, these shows just keep getting better and better. People keep asking to be involved, and I'm excited for it because it gives it another layer of what we do here at Smash Accept.
Yeah, we got some different types of squads on here, different formats, different bonuses, some heavy tight end premium leagues here. So it's going to be a really good show, just getting to dive through, 6 different teams. We've got some contenders, got some rebuilders here. So let's jump right into it here. We got a really good one starting us off, so hit it up.
And while we do these, we do still offer the super chats. Today's show, we are going to throw all 6 names that are on here, as well as any super chats to be in Smash Accept 22. We're going to give away 2 spots tonight. So Snoog, share that in the Discord, share that on Twitter. 2 spots tonight to play with me in Smash Accept 22. $50 buy-in. One of the most fun startups you'll ever be in, I promise.
Does Snoog get an exclusive invite to this league?
We'll get you in 23, the Michael Jordan League. That's we gotta have an MJ themed league. I love that. So the first one here, we have my man Rob Drop It from the Discord. If you guys do not already follow this, all the content that we put up here as of right now, we're doing from Dynasty Daddy. No correlation to the Dynasty Dad. I had like 6 people on Twitter. You'd be like, I saw your new website. Sweet. And I'm like, not yet. We're not there yet. But this is awesome. So the first one we're going to look at, and a lot of people have also been asking for this. They want to know what the content is. They want to know what the context, I should say, is. This is a 10-team Superflex 6-point passing. While I pull up this roster, Snoog, talk to me about how you deal with a 10-team Superflex, and then as well that it's a 6-point passing league, because that does change things as well.
Yeah, I think in 6-point passing, obviously the quarterbacks are heavily valued. I do think the 10 team does devalue the quarterbacks just slightly compared to a 12 or a 14 team league. But I mean, I think in 10 team leagues that like you're shooting for the stars with studs, right? Like studs matter so much more than in 12 or 14 team leagues. So in this case, like I'm heavily going after these type of studs. I'm trying to get like Rob Drop It from the Discord did here. He's got Bijan, he's got Gibbs, he's got Genty, he's got Drake May, he's got J Jeff. Star started across the board. That's what you're trying to do in a 10-team versus a 12-team league, where the depth doesn't matter as much, but you can build out with those superstar studs at the top.
All right, so let's take a look at this quarterback position here. It's a Monday night, and a quarterback room like this gets me bricked up. I know that we got Drake May, Caleb Williams. I'm excited here, man. Like, that's as good as it gets for me. Maybe if it was Josh Allen and Caleb, I'd get a little bit more excited. But you got 2 elite foundational pieces. When we talk about this, we're talking about a foundational as a quarterback under the age of 27 who's has a ton of trade value and upside. Love both of these guys. And you and I have been talking about Tua, Anthony Richardson, Justin Fields type. Like let's get some late cheap stashes. I actually like this. I'm going to give this an A-. If Tua was say like Tyler Shuck or Matthew Stafford, I'd give it an A+, but I'm going to go A-. I think it's a really strong room.
Yeah, me too. I think I love getting, like you said, I actually had the post A-Rich Fields. You've been hitting on Malik Willis for a while, Dad. Even throw Tua's name in there. Geno Smith. Get just depth at QB. If you could have 3 or 4 starting QBs and you get 2 of them for 4ths or 3rds, I think that's a great way to go about it, right? In 6-point passing, especially, QBs are very valuable compared. Like a Tua is going to outscore Travion Henderson in 6-point passing, most likely. So it's like having those depth and having that position there. I'm going to give it an A. I think you got 2 top 5 Dynasty QBs here, so that checks the box. Move on to the RBs. Dad, that's sexy. I wish he had 101 so he could get Jeremiah Love here. I haven't seen it yet. Right? I haven't seen the 4-headed monster.
I have like 5 or 6 that have Bijan, Gibbs, and either Genty or Love, but I have not seen the Mount Rushmore yet of running backs. He's really close. I mean, you look at this. This is Bijan, Gibbs, Genty. That's an A+. But then you throw in, you got Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, Tyler Algier. I mean, this is an embarrassment of riches. So this is an A++. This is the best one we've seen on any of our shows so far. I love this one. We're not gonna dig into that, because then you look at the wide receivers and it's shallow. It's three really good wide receivers, but you talk Jefferson, Collins, Adunze. I'm going to call this a B+, just for the fact that you're looking at a team like this. And Rob Drop It is an awesome guy in the Discord, but I'm looking at your running backs, and they're so elite. And then the wide receivers, you're getting a little bit older. I'd like to see another foundational piece in there, given what you have. But I think a B+ here is fair. Nico and Jefferson are still going to be top 12. Rome could be the wild card here. Is this a start 2 or start 3? If this is start 3, I'm scared. If this is start 2, I'm okay with this because your running backs are going to be both your flex pieces.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping that this is like, if it's Smash League format, I'm thinking, okay, he can start 5 RBs and 2 wideouts. Then it's like, okay, I get why you only have 3 guys here. He's also got the 103. We'll get into that there, but he's probably going to get Tater Lemon there, maybe Tyson. So he's going to get a 4th one there. But I mean, you got 3 really good ones. Can we get a Mike Evans? Can we get a, Ricky Pearsall? Can we get a Parker Washington? Can we get a Tyreek Hill with some seconds, some thirds here to beef out the rest of this RB or wide receiver room? Probably. Dad, he's got Kraft. I know we're both really high on Kraft. I think you like him more than I do. I think I'm going to give him probably a B+ wide receiver. It's going to be an A- after he makes that 103 pick, maybe an A, depending on what that looks like. I'm going to give Tucker Kraft an A-. I mean, he's top 5 to 6 dynasty tight end right now. That's as good as you can get if you don't have Bowers or those guys. So
it's the depth that's added here. I mean, Strange, Okonkwo, Gunner, and Juwan.
Yeah, it's good depth.
Somebody has to be in that league that's just sitting there like, I don't know what I'm doing with this. You know what I mean? Like, I need another tight end. So far, great start. Then I see 227 first and the 103. So let's start talking about how this team can be unstoppable. I think the quarterbacks are already set. I think I might go ahead out there and take the 303 and Chig Okonkwo, Gunnar Helm, or Juwan Johnson and try to acquire a Matthew Stafford. Or I might just try to take 303 and get Fields today, just in case Mahomes misses some time. You have that QB3 in there, could gain some value, but I think that's set. Snoog at 103, he's going to get his wide receiver here. I think even if Mendoza falls to 103 in this situation, I'm going to take Tate, Lemon, or Tyson, given the fact that the wide receiver room. And yeah, exactly. If it was 12 team, I'm still telling everybody that comes to me, they're like, what do I do here? I'm like, it's still Mendoza. You know what I mean? But in a 10 team with a wide receiver room like this, I personally have it Tate, Lemon, Tyson. You have it Lemon, Tate, Tyson. You're going to get whoever they don't want at 3. And I think that's going to really bolster the wide receiver room. I'm potentially switching into what I call a reduced volatility trade. I'm taking Rome Odunze and Hendo, or Rome Odunze and Judkins, and I'm going to flip it up a little bit different. Like in a true reduced volatility, that would be like Henderson and Nico to try to get a young wide receiver and an older running back. So the way that would look with Nico and Hendo is I would want Nico Collins is worth about the 103. So running back wise, I would want Hampton or A-Chain or something like that. And then the running back, I would want flip that. Wide receiver, I would want to get a London type. I would want to get, someone that's considerably younger than Nico, and then get an older running back, as opposed to having an older wide receiver and a younger running back, because wide receiver lasts longer. But what are some wide receivers you would look to add on to this? Because this team's, it's going to smash. And the fact that you have 227 first and the 103, I might be trying to add a veteran that, a Devontae Adams type, somebody else that's like, just in case Rome doesn't pop off.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the rankings that Dynasty Daddy has for him, we'll look through, the top 2 contenders. He's clearly a contender here. We'll look through some of the other teams here, and if there's any competition, doesn't seem like there's going to be, but I think it's like maybe entertain flipping that 103. Can you maybe add a little for Garrett Wilson, or get a Drake London, or get a guy in that range? But I think the 103 is so undervalued right now, Dad. Like my 2 most recent startups I've done, the 103 went like in the mid to late 4th round of every startup I've done. And it's like Garrett Wilson, Drake London, these guys, Chris Olave, Pickens, they're going in like the 3rd, 2nd, sometimes with London. It's like, you're better off keeping the 103. Like then Tate goes to the, Titans, or he goes 7 to the Commanders. Tyson goes, top 10, and then maybe to the Saints, and then Lemon goes to the Rams. Like one of 2 of those things happen, and you're hitting the lottery here with the 103. So I think it's interesting here. Let's look into a couple of the other trades or teams here that are kind of in that top end contention, just to see what that could look like. Maybe you could do like right here, Georgia, clearly a team that's going to be putting some pressure on you here from a contending standpoint. I mean, Dad, just looking at that Lamar Herbert, I think that cancels out his QB room. The RBs, A-Chain, James Cook gets close. He's got you beat at wideout, and he's really deep at wideout. Maybe it's like, can we get Michael Pittman for a pair of thirds? Can we get Waddle for, 2 seconds? Can we get Olave for a 27 first? Can we get Kelsey and Olave for a 27 first plus? Get creative there. Like, you can get, something along those lines done here. But what do you think about this team, Dad? Do you think his team beats out this roster?
See, when I'm this good, I'm not looking at the other good teams. I'm like, I got you. I'm trying to look at the bottom three, because what I want to say is, because let's be honest, like looking at the second best team, we're not trading with him. He's not trading with us. It's not likely happening. But when you go to those bottom three, bottom four, and you start, is this one of them?
Yeah, this is a rebuilding one, and he's got Saquon and Henry.
And we need wide receivers. I would be more looking at Mike Evans right here. 303 plus for Mike Evans. I'm hardcore going after Mike Evans on this particular build because our running backs are so good. We don't really need much else. You know what I mean? Saquon and Derrick Henry would be a nice addition, but there's not much here, and they're not going to give up JSN. He's a foundational piece. Maybe they give up Trey McBride. Maybe you go to him and you say, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to offer you Tucker Kraft. I'm going to give you Travion Henderson, and you give me Trey McBride and Derrick Henry. And now you went from I'm pretty good with Tucker Kraft to I'm going to kick – I'm going to dominate you with Trey McBride. It's a Monday night, so I'm letting loose a little bit there. But, yeah, I mean, that's the way I'm rolling with that one, and I love this roster. Rob sent in an absolute smash-type roster, and some of you guys in the chat are like, oh, this is a bit of a flex, or another guy's like, hey, this team doesn't need much. It doesn't matter. Like, whatever's going on, honestly, it's about trying to make the best roster we can. Captain Zohan said, I've been waiting all day for this. That a little bit of gambit there. Ooh, I've been waiting for this. This shows what you guys are excited for. Paradigm, he's coming in here with the super chats again. I don't care how many we get to. We're going to give away spots in the Smash Except 22. We got 2 super chats. We got 6 guys in here. That's 8 real good chances so far. Love Robert Giddle. Thank you for the super chat. He put yo first off season, and I'm curious what it would take to sell the 101. Great question. In a 1 quarterback start 12, for example, London Javante, or Hampton Ibuka, or Javante Ibuka, first and second. Thanks for the advice so much on the props. Snoog, the prices I'm seeing for Jeremiah Love are either one of 2 things: way too low or way too high. I'm not seeing any of them where it's like properly valued here. Let's start with the first one: London, Javante, or Jeremiah Love.
I'm going Jeremiah Love all day there.
Though.
Yeah,
it's pretty close, but I think I'm with you there. Hampton Ibuka, I think I'm gonna have to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I think and Javante Ibuka, 28 first and 27 second. You got to do that too. Try to get it as a 27 first, but hey, we're here to answer super chats. We're here to do rosters. We're here to do it all. We are coming at you 8:00 Eastern Standard Time every single Monday. We got guys that are trying to trade me in Smash Except 21, trying to tell me that Stroud bounce back is coming. Kyle, I love you, man, but I'm not trading for CJ Stroud. I'm sorry. We got P Spin saying, and this is probably before your time here, Snoop.
Yeah, I don't know it. I never know these lingos.
Bobby the Brain Heaton from WWF to Snoog's Jim Cornette. I love it. This is honestly where it's at. Charter says, thankfully, I'm not following this team up. And there's a lot of people. I'm going to be honest. Rob is in the Discord, and there are guys that are in there that are making money. They're making roster spots where they are dominating teams. To get into our Discord right now, and Snoog, why don't you tell everybody what we have going on in there? I will post our link, and then I will post the best code we run year round, which ends at the end of the week.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best place to be right now. All of our rankings, you get access to chatting with us through the DMs, chat with 5 of the other analysts in there, pumping out content, answering chats, answering trade questions. I keep getting questions. How do I get in leagues with you and Dad? How do I get in, orphans? How do I get in other leagues and competitive leagues? Like, I'm sick of my home leagues. You do in the Discord. We have questions and spots for you to get into every league possible. I'm posting orphans, whenever I have them, Dad, as well. So that's where you want to be in the Discord right now. 800 plus people in there talking shop 24/7. We get fun. We go live sometimes in there, answer questions, talk ball and stuff. So definitely a good spot to be, especially if you want to crush your rookie drafts. That's why we got that spring 30 for 30% off annual for the entire Discord for the year. Best promo we do year round. And it's been showing with how many people have been jumping in there and being like, wow, I've been a long time listener of the podcast. I finally joined the Discord. Best decision I ever made. So make sure you guys check that out.
Yeah, and like starting at our base tier, I mean, you're literally getting a $5 tier for $370. You know, so like you're saving some serious money. Let's go ahead and make some serious money for our next guy here, Drew JD2 from the Discord. We're looking at a 12-team Superflex 0.5 tight end premium. Snoog, a question I get from everybody, and what is the level of tight end premium where you should care, right? Like, because what ends up happening is people are like, Dad, what are your rankings at? And I'm like, it's 0.75 tight end premium. The only way I really bump guys up in 0.5 is if they're absolutely elite and if it's a tiebreaker. So if I have Chiga Okonkwo versus Mike Evans and they're both worth, say, the 212, then I'm going to take the tight end if I need him. But I don't make a big adjustment until we get to 0.75 or a full extra tight end.
Yeah, exactly. You hit that on the head there. This guy's team, I think we got our first rebuild guy in a little bit. I think the last 6 on the last show were all like real strong contenders that break this down head to toe, quarterbacks through picks. How are you rebuilding this team? It's FFPC, so I know you're familiar with that format. So I don't think it lets you trade your 28 picks yet, so they're not visible here.
So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, so hit it up and see how you do it.
FFPC is very difficult to rebuild. I'm going to be honest, because I love their format. I play in the pros versus Joes with guys from Roto World, guys from ESPN, Yahoo, and we're playing with other guys, you know, like pros versus Joes legitimately. But you play in a toilet bowl, which anybody that's out there, if you're a commissioner, go by max points for, because I've tried to rebuild one 2 years in a row and I got the 103 both times, because that's the pick that like you end up, you get a buy round one. If you win one game, you're going to lock in at the 103, but you don't get the 101. And, you know, every year it's like, okay, we're doing this. It's tough. It's much more difficult, but this one here, I mean, your quarterbacks are a solid B-. These are 2 guys that on a rebuilding roster, I like to own. I like to tear down to them, but Cam Ward, Tyler Shuck, both guys that Shuck's like 37 years old. So I know he's a sophomore, but I mean, he's old as dirt, but I mean, he's still, both of these guys are gaining some steam. I like both of them. I'm going to give it a B-. And Carson Wentz, I mean, forget about it. You know, like the other thing with FFPC is you do have to have a roster cut down. So Carson Wentz isn't making this roster. So running backs, this is the part that sucks about an FFPC rebuild. You can't trade these guys. Like we always talk about our leagues, you void out the running backs. So in a normal league, I would trade Tyler Shuck and Javonte Williams for an upgraded quarterback, and I'd be like, let's do this. This is going to be fun. But you can't, because you have to have some running backs. So this is where the running back core becomes interesting. I mean, this is a D, right? Like, or maybe a C. No, it's a D. Javonte Williams, Jonathan Brooks, Woody Marks, Ollie Gordon. But for the format, it's fine because you have one running back. You're going to suck all year. You know what I mean? Like you're going to make the toilet bowl playoffs. But then if one of these guys goes down to injury, I want to have as many insurance running backs as possible, because last year I secured the 103 instead of the 104 by having a bunch of extra running backs that are just insurance level.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played in an FFPC league, so it sounds like you want to be bad but good enough to win the toilet bowl to get the 101. Is that where I'm picking up here? So
because the worst 2 teams get a bye, right? And then the second round, unfortunately, like if you were, it's not a benefit, but like if you were the worst team, you end up playing whoever was the 7 seed if they won, right? Like, so then you're like, okay, this gets more difficult, but you want to have some running backs here. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Wide receivers here, I'm looking at Neighbors is something great to build around. Brian Thomas Jr. is worrisome. T. Higgins is going to get moved off this team. And then it's a couple of just guys that we're going to use to move up. This is B-, but I'm not digging it. I do love that you have Isaiah Likely on here. You know, Theo Johnson, Jawan Johnson, but that's another C. And then we move to the picks. There it is, 103. That's what happens every time in FFPC when you're trying to rebuild and you're not, your team's bad but not good enough. So we're looking there at the 103. Let's start first off with the draft. How are you going to address the 103 with this particular roster? And should we be considering, because of the way it's built, maybe trying to trade 103 and get back, or are you just taking Lemon Tyson or Tate and whoever falls?
Yeah, I would just take Lemon Tyson, whoever falls there. I would consider, I think it's super flex, right? So you're in that range where
Correct.
I'm considering taking Mendoza here. I think Mendoza and Cam Ward, I think that would do well for your rebuild. I'm trying to ship off. I'm shipping Javonte off, getting a 27 first, and I'm flipping T. Higgins for a younger receiver like a Lad McConkey, someone in that range, a Luther Burden type. And I'm just rebuilding. I'm going to start nobody at RB, have great wideouts, have likely and 2 good quarterbacks, and then I'm just going to see if I can get the 101. That's what
if you do that. The part that sucks is you're probably going to have to add a running back by like week, because then it's also cutoffs week 12. So by week 12, you're going to have something in there. So you can go ahead and do that. And I'm against what you're saying with the Mendoza though, because we're talking about having a roster that puts playable assets out there. I understand what you're saying. He would be the 2. So if you do that, make it Shuck and T. Higgins and get up to, you're not going to get Drake London, but you could get maybe Tet. You might be able to get Egbuka. You know what I mean? And I think that would really set you up. And if that's the way you're going to play it, then you draft Mendoza, you trade Shuck and T. Higgins to get up to Tet or Egbuka, or I would even try to do maybe Tyler Shuck, T. Higgins for Luther Burden in a second, and then have that second be something you could draft a running back that's going to be an Emmett Johnson, a Katron Allen, something late in that second. But it's very difficult to get ahead in that FFPC. Very difficult situation. You got the core pieces here. Let's take a look at maybe some of the better teams that we could potentially send T. Higgins or Javonte Williams to. So let's take a look at the top 2 or 3 teams.
Yeah, just looking at this guy here. He's loaded up.
Oh, he needs running back bad.
Struggling it up. Yeah, I saw this one. He got the 101, so he's going to get Jeremiah Love.
But he still doesn't have enough.
I still think you're in a position here where you can give him Javonte Williams for his 27-1, or maybe get him to give you, Marv. This is where I'm thinking, right? Rome in a 27-1 or Marv in a 27-1 for Javonte Williams, T. Higgins. Get it done. I think that's a beautiful, Dynasty Dad approved insulated move to get younger there, but also get that pick involved. Maybe throw Charbonnet in there and see if he'll just toss him in there for shits and giggles. And you get that RB that maybe comes back, like you said, week 12, week 13, and he balls out. Then you could be really winning out here. But what do you think? What are you going to try to do? This is clearly like his trade partner that he needs to go after.
I'm 100% either doing Javonte plus a little bit for Marv, or I'm doing, like you said, try to go out there, give them T. Higgins. And right now, I think Travis Hunter's even a decent guy to kind of attack on this roster.
Yeah. Here's another great one, too. Maybe it's like Olave in the 27-1 and try to get, he's got Judkins and Henry, but Judkins is probably going to miss some time.
I'm actually looking at trading Isaiah Likely for Kittle plus, because Kittle will be back in an FFPC. Kittle will be back by week 12, where you actually are going to gain a lot of value there with him and be able to flip that. So that gives you a ton of different options there, Drew. Awesome looking, start to a rebuild. We're going to help you work the whole way through that one, because there's a lot of little pieces to continue to work through on an FFPC. Matthew McDonald throwing in a for the love of the game. Got a P-Spin 1923, said, come on, Spot. This crew looking like JR and the law. So that is the attitude era of wrestling right there. You're just going to tell us which one's Jerry the King and which one's JR. We'll kind of go from there. Discord is 24/7, nonstop action. FF Gold. Joined last season, won 3 leagues and 2 runner-up. Snoog, you know what that gets? We're going cowbell with that, man. This is a must if you want to crush your leagues. D and I are actually going to sit down next Monday and go over 3 of his rosters in a one-on-one format.
Nice.
He's been an awesome guy in there. I'm excited for that, because we're doing roster reviews like this, and sometimes we just sit down and do one-on-one. Histine said, for the love of the game, appreciate y'all. I believe we did his last week. Yeah. Awesome looking roster, and we're already starting to move it on. And Churter44 says, my team's next. Apex Predators, let's LFG. Love the content in the Discord. This particular one, let's pull up his. He says it's 1 point tight end premium. Snoog. That's 2 points for every reception for a tight end. That's wild. Like, that is crazy points. And basically, it's a super flex. But he says, given the format, it is like a 2 quarterback league. So this one's juicy. And I know Apex has literally all day in the Discord be like, I've been waiting for this. This is my day. You know, like, we're going to go over the roster. So I'm excited about this one. 1 quarterback, 10 team, start 2 tight end premium. He says it's most of the players look at it more like it's a super flex. So let's take a look at this roster first and foremost. When I talk about a 2 tight end league, what's the first thing you want to look at is the tight ends. And then I got sad. You know, there's some upside there. It looks like you got Terrence Ferguson, you got Mason Taylor. You got this is, I'm going to say nicely, this is a D. In this format, I got to see this improve, right? But you have tons of picks. That's the next most important thing. 101, 102, 103, 104, 108. The advertisements blocking the 27 first, but I think there's probably a bunch of those.
He has like 4 of them. 427 first, a bunch of 20 like thirds and he's loaded. He's got the best draft capital in the league. He owns the drafts. So he's got it right.
Let's take a look at that. In a 2 tight Snook, let's talk. In a 2 tight end premium, is Kenyon Sadiq worth taking at the 4? I tend to think yes. In a 1 quarterback league like this, that is a Dynasty Dad approved move. Is he worth taking at 3? Because you have 1 through 4. You have 1 through 4. I mean, you're taking Love. I know you're saying it's like a tight end or like a super flex, but I'm taking Love, Tate, Sadiq, and Lemon. You know, and just let it come to me. I'm perfectly fine with that because you look at the quarterbacks there. I mean, I can't see. He says it's 1 quarterback, but then he also says it's like super flex. So I can't do it.
He's just probably saying it's they overvalue a lot of it. You know, and they overvalue the QBs.
But next year's class, Snoog, 2027, loaded with quarterbacks. I mean, outside of Mendoza, I would say there's 3 guys that I think are in that Mendoza tier, and then there's probably 5 to 6 guys that rank over Ty Simpson for me. So I'm no rush. We're trying to push for 27, but for me, Sadiq has to be one of those top 3 picks. You know, you might even take Love 1, Sadiq 2, your favorite wide receiver 3, and shop the 4. You know, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's look at the wide receiver, Snoog. There's a couple of guys that you like. No true hammer here, but a lot of upside.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect rebuilding core room, right? Like, you're clearly getting Jeremiah Smith next year. That's going to be the goal. So let's set that and forget that. You got Jeremiah Love to pair up with Genty. Now let's go get Jeremiah Smith. So how are we going to do that? You got to start chopping things down, right? Let's start with the wide receivers. I'm using Jaden Higgins, Rashid Shaheed in that 108. Let's get up into the 106. Try to get up into the 105 range. Too. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, shit, don't even go for Sadiq. Get 101, take Jeremiah Love. 102, trade it. Go get Drake London, Tet McMillan. Take, Lemon or Tate at the 3. Take Tyson 4 or Mendoza if you have to, right? If you said, I don't know. He said most play 2 QBs, so I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's like a super flex league, but not. I don't know. He's confusing me a little bit with that, but get up into the 106, get a Stowers. I think it'll be a better bang for your buck with the way this league's going. And I think you can shed down some of these points, right? Keep Marv, keep, Travis Hunter, keep Genty, keep Jeremiah Love. I'm selling all those QBs. So, go get a first for Willis, sell Jones for a second, get them all off your team.
I'm looking at the running backs next, and I want to throw something at you here because I think you can possibly get this done. Ashton Genty and a second for Colston Loveland in a first. In this format, would you consider doing that?
Yeah, I would do it.
Yeah, because I've been coming to a lot of guys that are coming to me and saying, I'm in a 2 tight end league. What do you value Colston Loveland at? Low key, the 101. I mean, I would prefer the 101 over him, but that's really what his value is. And a guy like Fannin, guy like Warren, tons of value here. I'm with you with the quarterbacks, but I think I'm going to let Willis and Jones appreciate and value a little bit unless somebody really comes at me. If you go with that route and you want to build a quarterback room then you trade Daniel Jones in the 108 and try to, like Snoog said, get up to 106. Because then you open it up. You take 1, Love, 2, Mendoza, 3, Sadiq, 4, whatever your favorite wide receiver is. Let them take the other wide receiver at 5, and then take Stowers at 6. And if they take Stowers, oh no, it's a shame. I got to take either Tate, Lemon, or Tyson, and I think you can really dominate this draft. At what point, Snoog, do you trade for another 27 first? I'm at 108. I would do it in a heartbeat. Obviously 112. No one's doing that. 104. Do we trade like 104 for like someone that really wants to get in there for a Fannin type and a second? You give up 104 in a second for Fannin in a first, or Warren in a first, or Kraft, or I really want to come out of this draft. By the time it's done, I want to have 2 tight ends. I don't care about the quarterbacks, which is different. I want 2 tight ends. I want to make sure I have Kraft. I want to try to get Likely cheap. I want to get Fannin, Loveland, Warren, whatever I can at that tight end position.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those teams, like your goal is definitely Jeremiah Smith. You have so much draft capital, 427s. You own the 2026 draft. I think it's like, instead of buying players with the 26 picks, I think it's consolidate 1 or 2 of those picks, get more into 2027. So you're not going to get Jeremiah Smith if you draft and trade for you. I mean, you got 6 starters here, 6 first this year, 201 on top of it. Like, it's going to be so hard for you to be able to get Jeremiah Smith with all those players. You're going to have to start chopping it down. That's why I said get those QBs off your roster. I just don't think they do any value for you. And then start moving like that way. I think, like Dad said, tight end's a good priority here. I think you could almost like tier up with like BTJ in a first and try to get like, I don't know, a Drake London, maybe like a guy in that range.
Let's take a look at some teams at the top, because Tootin's right now consistently getting you a first. Willis is getting you a first. Genty could get you a tight end plus a first. I love the idea of having Genty and Love on the same team, but I know you're not going to get Jeremiah Smith, which is going to really hinder this rebuild in general.
Yeah, when I'm trying to buy 27 firsts, I'm looking at other mid teams, right? I'm not looking at the best team out there. I'm looking at who's like sitting in that 5 to 6 range, like right away. I think Mike Honcho is actually in the Discord. So Mike Honcho's team here, I mean, he's got Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward, solid foundation. He's got some good RBs, some decent wideouts. He's got Loveland and Warren and Likely. He's got great draft capital as well. Maybe he's ready to come out of that rebuild, right? Maybe you can say, look, give me come take Ashton Genty, come get Bajal Tootin, come get Jaden Higgins plus. Give me the 105, give me the 106, or let me get one of your tight ends from you. You have a lot of opportunity here with him to get something done. And then, Dad, this one right above here, another guy in that range, right? Like he's clearly another team probably coming out of the rebuild. He's got a couple 27 first. He's loaded. A lot of these guys have multiple tight ends is what I'm seeing. And it's only start one tight end, but it's full tight end premium.
And wait, is this? Yeah, this isn't start 2 tight end, but when it's this bullish, like you got it. I want to have 2 of them, because if you invested early in Bowers, Loveland, McBride, you are dominating teams. A 2 tight end premium. Trey McBride put up 450 fantasy points last year. Like, that is, to put that into perspective, what did Bijan have? 310, 320. So I mean, he's outscoring, right? But he's outscoring Bijan by almost
80,
8 to 10 points a game. And I mean, Bijan's as good as it gets when it comes to the running back position. So let's work on those tight ends. Let's kind of beef this up. Apex, you're in the Discord. I'm excited to. What really is cool is, like, I want to have a "Where Are They Now" show 6 months from now and start to see where some of these guys are, because I know for a fact that these guys are in here. I talk to them on a daily basis. So do you. Their rosters are absolutely thriving. So this is a fun one. I can't wait to dissect it a little bit more. A couple quick super chats in between our next one here. We had Schurter. We got Sens going in for the love of the game. If you guys aren't sure, we're FTLOTG. That's kind of a smash accept thing. We got our hashtag DynastyDadApprove, hashtag FTLOTG. The other people putting hashtag cowbell. We're trying to be a little bit trendy on there. I appreciate that. And Gavin, is it Donnell? Awesome, from YouTube. He said, got to get on that wheel for Smash 22. We don't allow, and I say this with the right way, is like, outside of giveaways, the only way to get into these leagues is to be in the Discord, and I'll post them in there. Same with the orphans, but we're giving you an opportunity tonight. If you have not had a chance, right there, if you do want to be in, patreon.com/smash accept. Snoog, we got another interesting roster here with another 2 tight end premium, which is kind of wild. Like you don't see a lot of that, right? We're looking at Doof. I had one guy message me today, said, how do I get a super chat in? Because I'm tired of Doof winning. Doof won the Nico Collins autographed jersey, which I just mailed out. He's a big Michigan fan, so that works great. He won the free roster review today. And when we do our trade shows, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, Monday or Tuesdays, we give away a roster review, and he won that. And my man's the luckiest man in our
buy a lottery ticket.
Let's see if he's a lucky guy with his 10-team Superflex Best Ball 1.0 tight end premium. So 2 points for every reception. Snoog, you got this one. Start at the tight end position. Let's see what we have.
Yeah, I mean, right away, like Dad said, right? Best ball, especially, you're looking at that tight end position in a heavy tight end premium format. I'm not loving it. It's not knocking my socks off. Clearly a weakness here. Brenton Strange, David Njoku. Strange could be a nice, it's bad. It's a D for me, maybe a D minus. Strange can be a decent piece, maybe a top 10 finisher, but I don't see anything outside of that. I don't see game-changing count from Strange there to be like, a Warren, a Bannon, a Kraft. He's not that caliber of player to me. Moving on to the wide receivers, though, I'm really excited about this wide receiver core.
Can I comment on the tight ends? If you're gonna play best ball, and you can play with a string of these, right? Like if you have 5 tight ends and you're playing in best ball, you're gonna get there's gonna be a couple big strange weeks. I think Njoku's gonna go somewhere. I think we have a lot of options, so that's perfectly good.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head there. Like, I'm looking at this team, Dad. I think the smart route is let's rebuild one more year and get Jeremiah Smith, and I think this team's going to be unstoppable. Imagine Jeremiah Smith with Malik Neighbors, Emeka Egbuka, Chris Olave, and Marvin Harrison Jr. in a best ball league where you can start, up to 4 or 5 wide receivers. I think that's absolutely picture perfect. I'm going to give the wide receiver room an A. I mean, you got 4 foundational wide receivers all in that top 20 range for me. And you got the 104, so that's telling me right away you're probably getting Tate, Tyson, Lemon there. Maybe it's Mendoza because it is super flex, and I think you need him. But, I mean, you're just going to make this wide receiver room even better, so I'm really excited about that. Got some good pieces like Ayuk that you might be able to ship off if he goes over there to Washington. Running backs, not super excited about this. Just Judkins, basically. The rest of it's a bunch of turd sandwiches. No real, exciting dart throws there. And then the QBs there. I mean, I'm going to give that running back room probably a C minus, maybe a D plus. Just Judkins and basically nothing else. The QB room just took a massive hit with J.J. McCarthy getting replaced by Kyler Murray. You got C.J. Stroud there, but we got to get your real QB1 now. Another guy to pair up with Stroud in a super flex league. It is only 10 team. Maybe it's Mendoza. Maybe it's flipping the 104 plus the 201 plus for a Herbert or a Joe Burrow or someone in that range. Maybe a Brock Purdy, Bo Nix. Just get another guy there to be there with Stroud. Overall, Dad, this is the biggest screaming rebuild to me ever. I mean, you're weak at tight end, weak at quarterback, weak at running back, loaded at wide receiver. You got the 101 and 104. Let's break down this draft capital. Like, what are you trying to do with this team? I think it's let's go get 1 or 2 more 27 first, and let's keep building this thing out. Like, let's get Jeremiah Smith. Let's get these guys and start loading it up.
It looks like year 1 of a rebuild didn't quite change over the way that we wanted it to, right? Just like the malfunction of my headphones switching over right in the middle of the show. It didn't quite go the way we wanted it. But for right here, I mean, you did get the 101. You have the 201, the 104, and you got 227 firsts. I'd be interested to see what that particular other 27 first is. But right off the bat, I'm at least shopping Jeremiah Love. I'm not trading him. I think you add him into this, and it's a decent mix. Because but we need to at least think about 101 right now is I saw a guy in the Discord today get Caleb Williams straight up for the 101. If we can get a Caleb, a Herbert, a Lawrence, something like that for 101 and we get something else back, or if we can take the 104 and we can do that to get those particular quarterbacks, because the QB room here, and I mean, I've mentioned how much I can't stand owning Bryce Young. CJ Stroud's on that list for me, and I know Snoog, you like him, and I know you're like I like him.
Oh man,
I know, but like I don't want Jeremiah. I don't want Jordan Love. I don't want Bryce Young. I don't want CJ Stroud. They're just guys that I don't own. So I would try to take Stroud and legitimately try to do Stroud plus a Ayuk and try to get a quarterback upgrade, or try to get Malik Willis plus a better secondary piece, because I think Willis is dirt cheap right now, and you're still going to be able to go that route. At the draft itself, take Love, see what you get for the 104. I mean, this roster, you need a tight end, but I'm not comfortable in this. I don't know. Do you take Kenyon Sadiq here at 4? Do you try to take the 201 plus Ayuk plus somebody else and try to get up to, like we said, 106, 107 to get Stowers? How are you tackling this draft?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best bet with this team would be to trade, Jeremiah Love and see what we could get. I also think pairing Jeremiah Love with Judkins would be phenomenal, and then just punting QB and tight end until next year and seeing what happens. Maybe you capitalize on Chris Olave's, peak value right now. Go get a 27 first plus. You could probably get 2 firsts for Olave right now if you add a piece. Flip Olave and Ayuk, or flip Olave and Brenton Strange and get a 27 plus 28 first here. Load up there, and then maybe take, Jeremiah Love at the 101, right? You shed some points, but you get a foundational asset back, set it and forget it, your RB room. And then maybe it's like, look, I'm going to flip Fields. I'm going to flip, Stroud. I'm going to flip Njoku, get these guys all off my roster so it can give me flexibility on what I can do with draft picks. And then I can say, look, at the 104, I can either flip it for a 27 first plus, or now I can, take a Tate Tyson Lemon or Mendoza and pair up a rookie with Jeremiah Love there, where you're kind of replacing points with rookies who shouldn't be as good as the veterans you're trading away, right? So I think you could do a lot of things with this team, but I think, like, you're going out of your way to get Jeremiah Smith here. Like, I will be very disappointed if we don't get him, because I do think if you do, into 2028, you're going to have so much flexibility with, like, Love, Neighbors, Judkins, Ibuka, Smith, Marvin Harrison, CJ Stroud, maybe Mendoza. Like, that's a real foundation that you're building there, versus having Brenton Strange score 250 points on your bench and 1 point tight end premium for no reason. Like, get him off your team.
Let's pull up some of these top 3 teams here, because I think teams are going to be hungry for Chris Olave. I think Chris Olave is a great flip for some of these, to try to get ourselves a younger wide receiver, get ourselves someone that we're trying to get maybe a 27 first. I don't even care if it's a 27 first, like that one there. You go with that team there, you get a 27 first, second, and then a third piece. Or this one here, 27 first plus, I don't love Jaden Higgins, but it's something like that. A 27 first plus Dalton Kincaid, a 27 first plus Tyler Shuck, and then you have a second quarterback there that kind of works. And he has 4 quarterbacks. So I think that's something that's definitely feasible. I try to look at rosters where I want a wide receiver, who I'm looking at. This one here does not have the wide receivers either, but again, 27 first is still intact. You have a lot of 27 first on the board. Dude, I'd be kicking the tires to these guys and say, you want to win? Come get Olave. 27 first plus, whoever gives me the best offer.
This is a good one.
Is going to get themselves a wide receiver 1.
I'd go after this one. There's a lot of if then buts about this team, like, a lot of ifs, right? No real, other than JT and Travis Etienne and Javonte. It's like, can they do it? Go get Alec Pearson at 27-1 and get, Chris Olave off your team, or go get, maybe it's Justin Herbert and you give him Chris Olave and CJ Stroud, right? Maybe that's a route you go, and you lock in that elite quarterback in this format. So many options. Everybody has their 27 first still. That gives you the flexibility to be the first one to go after them. First one to lock in Jeremiah and dominate that 2027 draft pick. Go ahead and do it.
Tons of options there. King Tomb, for the love of the game. To Regret 629 said, Smash 22, you say? Sign me up. So like I said, we're going to be giving away 2 of them. And I hope it goes to one of the roster review guys, but I got my fingers crossed for you guys that are coming in from YouTube that are not in the Discord, and you're like, let's get a chance to play with these guys, because I think it's going to be a blast. I love drafting. The last one in Smash Except 21, I made 22 trades in draft. Pretty much, I try to get a trade done with every single person, not on purpose, not for a point to tank my team, but let's have some fun with it, And speaking of fun, you can't have fun in it with a show without Holy freaking Smokes. He comes in on every single live. He is always dropping the super chats. Great guy. Now we get to diagnose his roster, and that's exciting to me. You know what I mean? For a guy that is a big time supporter, and now he gets an opportunity to have his roster show up on the show. It's a really cool experience. So I'm going to break this down to start. Snoog, I love that we have Drake May. Quarterback room just took a kick in the balls by JJ McCarthy. You know, it really did. Like, you're like, okay, we got an idea, but at least we have Tua there. McCarthy, I'm trying to like buy on the cheap everywhere I can because maybe the Kyler experience doesn't work. There's a lot of rumors about the Browns and the Chargers have both reached out to them to potentially get JJ McCarthy. So I'm holding him here on this one. Running backs, that's the definition of a rebuild turd sandwich room. Bashal Tootin and a bunch of leftovers. And that's why you have the 101, because you listen to this show. You know about the RB void. You know how to get that 101. Perfect. Wide receivers, a little bit older than I like to see for a rebuilding team with Ladd, Zay, Downs, Coker. It's not great, you know, but I'm looking at a B on the quarterbacks, a D- on the running backs, a solid C on the wide receivers. And then is this the fourth team in a row with Gunnar Helm? Like Gunnar Helm season. I mean, Chig Okonkwo is gone. He was a guy that you and I were on to way early in the process. And then Dalton Kincaid. But Snoog, look at that draft capital. 1, 2, 3, 4, 27 first, the 101, the 106, the 111. How are we fixing this thing? Are you pushing the chips in, or are we just pushing back to 2027?
Pushing back to 2027.
100%.
Whenever you're this close to Jeremiah Smith, you better damn well get him. And I think this is the perfect layup for you to get him with this roster. You got a couple good foundational assets. I'm building around Drake May, Zay Flowers, Ladd McConkey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take in this case, I'm going to take Jeremiah Love, I think. I want another heavy-hitting cornerstone asset to work with. I think the key is let's take the 106 plus. Let's get up into that 105 range, that 104 range. What is that going to look like? Is it a Kincaid you got to throw him? Maybe you got to give him Downs. Maybe you got to give him a booty in a second, right? Get that done. Booty. Get up into that range. Yeah, Dad gets it. Take that 111 plus. Go get a 27 first. Even go get a 28 first if you have to. I'm willing to do that, but I'm not doing it until it's draft day. And that's what I've been telling a lot of people in the Discord, Dad. We praise that on the show. All these rookie picks, you don't sell a single one of them until draft day, unless you're tearing up.
I was going to say, you offered me the 111, and I would sell the 111 and the 206 for any 27 first today. I would trade the 111 for any 28 first today. However, the 106, you're right on. Like 106 is the first guy that I'd really consider trading for a random 27. I would like to try to find a team in this league who's a pretender, who's in the middle, and offer the 106 this year for a mid next year or random next year. Because even if it becomes 104, 105, Ahmad Hardy, Cam Coleman, you know, Kellen, there's so many guys that I think are just considerably better than what you're going to get with either Sadiq or, you know, one of the other guys in that range. Mm-hmm. So 101, I'm trading back. I literally am. I'm trading to 102 through 105, get a 27 first on top of it, because Jeremiah Love is potentially going to ruin your chances for Jeremiah Smith in this situation. The other way to do that is take the 101, throw in Tua Tagovailoa, get Drake May and Caleb Williams as your centerpiece. Because when we build this, right, we're trying to build. I tell everybody we want 15 core assets before we build it up. We want to build it out before we build it up. But the most important thing is we're building a skeleton here, right? And we want the head is the most important part, and that's the quarterbacks. Then we want to start building the foundation with the wide receivers. And then you throw some meat on the bones, and we start to throw in those running backs and tight ends because they have the shortest longevity and they're the easiest to acquire. So if I can do Tootin and 206 for a 27 first, I'm doing it. If I can trade off Tootin, I would get there no matter what. So This is kind of where I'm at. Then I'm looking at Ladd and Zay, 27 first plus a Trey Harris plus we already talked about Jaden Higgins, but someone in that range where you're like, okay, this is someone that could have a little bit of value, someone that could pan out. And I'm pull up my wide receiver rankings here, but I mean, I'm talking about, if you do Zay Flowers and get Pat Bryant thrown on, Troy Franklin, Trey Harris, like we already said, Matthew Golden, Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Worthy. Like there's some guys that were just, let's do a 2-for-1. Let's insulate down. Let's get a younger wide receiver and let's add a little value. Take a look at some of those middle teams. Let's see who's in the middle that could use a Kenyon Sadiq. There's got to be a team somewhere towards the middle where they're like, right there. You see that guy who has, he's one of the worst tight end rooms. Yeah, he's not going to do it.
This guy's got Loveland and
That
Crab.
guy's loaded. All right, who else we got?
These teams are freaking stacked. Holy crap. Yeah, definitely keep rebuilding. This one,
Right there.
and he's got
Right
Hawkins.
there.
That's a good team, though. I'm not buying this guy's first. He's got
No, but
Amon-Ra, JJ
we're-
London, JT, James Cook. It's got to be some bad. Yeah, this is where now we're getting into that range. Like these frisky. This is a team I'm going after, right? Thin at QB, Dad.
Old
Kyron,
running
Derrick
backs.
Henry, old RBs, 2 wide receivers. Go get, Parker Washington in his 27 first or 28. He doesn't have a 27. I'll take his 28.
He's got
and then
two 28s.
Flip Zay Flowers or someone in that range. That's a good opportunity here. What about Daredevil here? Another team, right? Rice gets suspended. This team falls off a cliff. Maybe take that 27 first plus, maybe a Jordan Addison or a Christian Watson or a Quentin Johnston and go get a guy in that range, right? Give him Zay Flowers, give him someone in that range that we can get off of. But these are the guys that you want to be targeting, right? Daredevil, Iron Man, even like Loki. He's clearly looking like he's trying to rebuild and he doesn't even have his own first. Let's see if we have Loki's first here because that's an awful team. Like that.
I love all these Marvel names, though.
We
You
don't.
got I Am Groot on there. This is great.
Oh, we do. We have his team. Wow. We have Curvy, Superflex's team. You're guaranteed Jeremiah Smith and the 102 then. You have a lot of flexibility with that. Dad, talk to us a little bit about that. When you have someone else's first with a team this bad, that gives you more flexibility now where you don't have to sell up ship. You don't have to sell all your players.
Yeah.
You can lock up Jeremiah Smith and have a chance at the 102 or 103 while keeping a decent roster.
I did that in Smash Accept 13 where I was like super close and I made a deal. I traded Genty for the 101 and somebody else's other first because I think you want to be in a position where you get the 101, but you're okay if you get the 102 and he gets the 101, but you don't want to lose to someone else. So you don't want to deal your first, but you want to be in position to be in that 101 through 103 and knowing that you already have the 101 and also have the ability to sell off if you need to push for the 101. But I mean, Snoog, Smith is the clear prize, but 2 and 3 next year are going to be really good too. I mean, Arch Manning is he's going to be worth more than what Fernando Mendoza is right now. 27 class is loaded. So this is a great roster here by my man, Holy Freaking Smoke. Matt M, he's throwing in another for the love of the game. That's his second one. So let's get him in on the wheel. Again, let's make sure we get all 6 of our roster review guys in on the wheel because I would love to have an opportunity to play with any of those guys. So that's 17 different names. One of them on here twice. Good luck to you guys. And let's go over to our last one here. So again, if you guys are just tuning in towards the end of the show, we are going to be doing this every Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. My kids are over here playing Madden. Snoog's girlfriend's like, we'll give up a little bit of time to jump on the show. But we're talking $60 to be on the next show, and that's literally it's better than anybody else in the market. It's cheaper than anybody else on the market. And that's literally for 10 minutes. Plus, we're going to help you with our DMs. I mean, we're not here to just do it a one-time thing. Check us out on that. DM Snoog. He's at FFSnoog on Twitter or just in our YouTube channel. Just go ahead and message on there. Acast, another guy from the Discord, Acast 906. He's coming at us with a 12 team, 1 quarterback, 6-point passing with some heavy bonuses, Snoog. I mean, when you have bonuses, I don't play in a lot of leagues with bonuses. I'm going to be honest. But if you have a bonus league, how much different does that change the way that you view the positions? Or because it's a wide receiver, tight end, and RB bonus, is it literally just icing on the cake?
Yeah, it just evens it out, right? It kind of gives you a balance between the quarterbacks in the Superflex league or 1 QB league with the rest of the players. In this case, I think it's like I want all the wide receivers and RBs I can get in these heavy bonus formats, right? Like Jonathan Taylor, James Cook here. He's got a really solid RB room. Ramondre Stevenson is the RB3. I think it's a little weak. I think we could get an RB4, RB5 in there. Maybe take advantage of some of those stashes that we talked about there, Dad. But tight end bonus, yes, it's good. I think that it's just so heavily evened out when there's a bonus to every position. And I look through the bonuses. They're all very similar, and they're all pretty much the same. So it's probably just to balance out the QB value with the rest. Let's break down this QB room, right? Let's start head to toe. 1 QB league. I mean, we're going to give this an A+. He's got Lamar and Dak. You can't beat that in a 1 QB league. What are you thinking about these RBs, Dad? To me, it's a little thin, but really good at the top. Really good contending. This is clearly a contender. But what do you think here?
Shout out to you first. HolySmoke said Snoog suggested trading Trevor Lawrence. That's what got me that Loki's 27 first. So shout out to you on that one. I'm sure we got a little bit of insulation, 27 first plus another player in there. That's how we do it. Love that. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. I got that super chat and I'm like, okay, we have to add that in there because HolySmoke was just covering his team. And that's the kind of like you and I are looking at this. We both have financial advisors because we want to invest our money the right way. You need to have fantasy football advisors too. Even though Snoog and I just shoot the breeze and I'll text him and be like, do you do this trade? He'll do the same. We're here to do that for you guys. So let's take a look here. Again, AK's team, I'm looking at the quarterbacks here. And I mean, no picks at all. Like, did this league not have any or he just trade them all?
No, they just don't have any.
Okay. All right. That's an interesting, maybe they have no picks.
None of them are showing up. Yeah. I would imagine there's some sort of thing there with why not.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go back to his roster then. So I'm looking at, we're just going to take this at face value. I know for a fact that Acast is in the Discord, so we can talk to him, but quarterbacks, this is a win now A, right? And then I look at the running backs, and that's a win now A. You look at the quarterbacks, Lamar and Dak, no QB3, but we're talking about one quarterback. So Lamar as your QB1 and Dak as a backup. Beautiful. We look at a heavy running back premium with bonuses, and you have Jonathan Taylor and James Cook. And then you have Ramondre, Chris Rodriguez, and Ollie Gordon. That's an A, because you're looking at two absolute workhorses. And if it's 0.25 PPC or it's any kind of bonus, those two guys are absolute workhorses. Wide receivers. I love that wide receiver room. CeeDee Lamb, Emeka Ibuka, Teteroy McMillan, Rashee Rice, Brian Thomas Jr., Michael Wilson. I know there's some question marks in there, tons of upside. And I really like the tight ends. I mean, Sam Laporta and Mark Andrews, there's a lot of upside on this particular roster. I wish I knew what the picks were. Unfortunately, some leagues, they do like a lottery system for their picks, so they don't post what they are. Other times, I mean, there's got to be picked involved. Is that him? Big Fish Dog saying there. Okay. I was hoping that he was watching live so we could see a little bit more about the picks. Not knowing about the picks, let's take this roster. Let's get it to the next level. We are in a one quarterback league. We are trying to start 9. So I think you look at that roster. If we're starting 9, you got Lamar and Laporta on the outside. Then we need to get 7 between Taylor, Cook, and the wide receivers. We get Taylor and Cook. That cuts us down to 5. Lamb, Ibuka, Tet, Rice, BTJ. That's a solid roster. Are you trying to trade Rashee Rice or Brian Thomas Jr. here to potentially get an upgrade, or are you worried about the depth?
I am so comfortable and confident with this wide receiver core and this entire roster right now where it's like, I don't think you need to do much. You got the heavy hitting foundational assets like CeeDee Lamb, Lamar Jackson, even Tet, Ibuka, Rashee. And then you got the perfect balance, right? With the RBs, Jonathan Taylor, James Cook. I almost think I would want to take like Rashee Rice. I actually want to keep Rashee because I think he offers top 5 upside with where he's valued with your team where the risk doesn't matter. Maybe it's like, let's take Brian Thomas and flip him for a 28 first or a 27 first plus like a
Devontae Adams,
Derrick Henry, or some type of running back 4 or 3.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like flip him. It's kind of gross. Flip him for like a Kyron plus a second, or a David Montgomery in a 27 or a 28 first, or something like that. Maybe it's for Jacobs or CMC, like some type of move like that where you can get another start RB in there. But Dad, I mean, what are you thinking that you're gonna do? You don't want to tear off CeeDee Lamb, like you want to keep him there.
Yeah, because you need a true alpha wide receiver. I mean, I think Ibuka and Tet give you tons of upside. BTJ gives you some upside there. Unfortunately, there's not a ton of extra depth on this team that's why I was asking you, is like, I would like to insulate off of someone. I'm not doing off Lamar Jackson because he's one of your biggest difference makers there are. But you have Dak and Lamb, so you have that like stack there if you do try to like upgrade Lamar into multiple type pieces. Because I like to have an absolute alpha quarterback. I think Dak is a solid back end QB1, but I don't want back end QB1s in one quarterback leagues. So I would potentially try to float Dak out there to upgrade one of these other wide receivers, maybe a Dak and a BTJ for a wide receiver who's a higher tier plus a Malik Willis. I mean, like I want to see when I do those, when I start buying other quarterbacks, I want to make sure I get a Stafford back, a Willis back, someone that I think has a ton of upside that if I got to play him, I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot. Let's take a look at some of the bottom feeders in this league. I mean, I think we got to go dumpster diving a little bit. We got to try to see if we can potentially trade an Emeka Ibuka or a Tedaroy McMillan for multiple assets because we're one injury away from having to start Ramondre Stevenson every week. And we're 2 injuries away from having to start. I don't even know who.
This is your trade partner right here. I literally clicked on the first guy that's ranked as the worst team in the league value-wise. I can see why, right? It's loaded with vets. Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, get it done.
Yep.
Get it done.
And he's got Adams too. Like this is the guy we float a pick or we float. Honestly, I hate saying you float Emeka, but I mean, I think you do Emeka. You could probably get Derrick Henry and Nico Collins for Tet at this point. Like with your particular roster there. It's not the sexiest thing.
I feel like this guy's going to be so desperate for picks that like you could just be like, give me Derrick Henry for a second plus or give me Jacobs for a pair of seconds and like a dart throw, like something like that. I think it's the route you're going to want to go here. I don't know. It's interesting. Let's look at some of these. I mean, this guy right here, right? Rebuilding clearly has a bunch of RBs and nothing else. Maybe you just flip BTJ for Bucky or BTJ for Brees and give him a second or something on top. This guy here, another one, has a clearly rebuild here, but then at RB, maybe you pair up a third and get Rashad White or Blake Corum there just to get another dart throw. Yeah, he is. I like this one, right? This guy's clearly going to be a rebuilder. Let's go get Saquon. Let's get Saquon and Kamara, right? Maybe we give up our 26 first if it's late. It's probably going to be, depending on if this team, how the picks are going about. Maybe we have our 26 first, right? And it's like 108, 110. Go get the pair of RBs there because I think Kamara could be a massive value if he ends up going somewhere else, or even if he stays, like who knows what happens. He could still be a PPR machine, but so many options here with this team. Clearly got like 4 or 5 teams you can trade with and work with. Go get an RB, 3 and 4 or RB3 and see what we can do with those wide receivers, but the team's loaded.
Love this here. Big Fish Dog says, thanks for the help, Snoog, with the retool. 103, 327 first, 328 first. Ward, Stroud, Genty, Judkins, Tet, Golden, Worthy. Tip of the hat to you right there. He's ready to smash 2027, and that's literally what it's all about. Big Fish Dog got his roster eval the other day, so that's fantastic. Let's go ahead and get that wheel going because we have a lot of different people on the show. What is that? Roster review show. Maury reveal the lie detector term. You are not the father or not the contender. You're a little bit too young for that show. You remember that? Maury,
I'm always too young for these damn shows.
I know. We used to watch them when we were home from if you went home early or you were sick that day, Maury was on, and they always had shows where it was like they would have the girl on there trying to figure out who the dad is. So I'm your Dynasty dad. That's a little bit different. Let's give this away. Let's hit it off right off the bat. We're going to give away 2 shots into Smash Accept 22. Best of luck to everyone.
First one.
And I don't think anybody's in any of the other Smash.
No way. There's no way. Dude.
No. What? Dude. Yo, Snoop, do you have
No, there's no. You can't put settings on like that. That's not an option.
Doof, play.
That is insane.
Doof
you gotta go buy yourself a lottery ticket.
Dude, he's got to. And whatever numbers they are, just let us know. We're going to play it.
Wow. Number 2 here. Smash 22 last giveaway.
As active as he is, though, he is not in any of the other Smash leagues. So King Tomb is, I believe. So I'm going to put him on here, but let's get an alternate because we don't do anybody we don't do more than one spot. So I'm going to put that as an alternate, but if that is, we'll get you another prize there, King, if you are already in one, but which I believe he is. So we try to keep that. There's so many guys that want to play with us. We try to keep it at a
HolySmoke.
minimum there. So, all right.
Acast, Tone Boom. Nice.
906. So I love it. Guys, this has been a fun show. We love doing the roster reviews. Tomorrow, trade show, Tuesday. Honestly, we're excited because this is the time of year where we are trying to help people win. We're trying to get everybody over the top. I love the comment section. You guys are killing me tonight. I can't even read some of them, but they are absolute fire. Gavin said he's definitely in the Discord. He's been enjoying that. Right now, patreon.com/smash accept. Spring 30, Snoog. I hated daylight savings. We're passing it on to everybody else. It's been a major success. So, get everybody in there. Rookie guide. It's coming out soon, right?
Yeah, rookie guide's going to be here end of March, aiming for that time date, right before that, NFL draft. Give us a month to prepare, figure out what our strategy is going to look like, just for it to change again when the NFL draft happens at the end of April. So we're going to have two versions, end of March, end of April, probably early May for that second guide there. But really excited. It's going to be super fun. We're going to be doing, pick equivalents, like full big boards, dads, mines, Brocks. We're going to make it really fun in there with the rookie guide, over 50, 60 plus prospects. So make sure you take a look at that when we do drop that, because it will be coming with a lot of cool stuff and different incentives to get you guys in the Discord and all that stuff. So
for sure. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and enjoy the process.
Molly says she approves.
Oh, she's in.